Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we're making a video about changing the knock sensor on a K-series engine. There's a few steps involved. It's not too hard, but we're just going to show the breakdown of how it's done. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove all the plugs. You got your air intake temperature sensor, that plug. You got your throttle position sensor, that plug. You got your map sensor. There's that plug, and then right around the back you got your air intake. There's an idle air control valve. The plug that goes into that is on the back side, and it's a bit of a pain in the butt. And it's off.
Yeah, that one's not never as difficult as
Pro tip number 23. Do this.
remove the bar.
Alright, so next, after all the plugs are disconnected and kind of set them out of the way, you'll have to remove that 10mm bolt, and you'll want to unplug this as well. And then there is a little clip that keeps your harness to the car, or I mean to the throttle body, and you'll unplug that as well, and that'll just kind of release this whole harness so that when you commence to pulling off the intake manifold, yeah, you won't be yanking on any cords. Special bonus for today.
What the fuck? I'm like, oh god. I'm like, yeah, very strange. Special bonus. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm removing the bolts from the throttle body. And this is the one you don't want to drop. That I will probably drop.
Did you get it?
Nope, it went all the way through though. I heard it hit the ground. Alright, and we also got to remove that 10mm. That is the bracket that holds your your throttle cable. Yeah.
I thought you had it.
Okay. Try it again. Normally there's 2 bolts in there, but I had one break off.
Really?
Yes.
I had to break off. How much power?
From all my torque. Alright, and then you just kind of have to wiggle this thing out. There. Now your throttle cable is disconnected. And your throttle body should come right out. This is the idle air control valve. It's on the bottom of your throttle body. I don't know what that's supposed to bolt to, but it doesn't, so yeah. Obviously you will have to remove those 2 to take off your idle air control valve. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do next. And strip the screws while I'm doing it. It's not the best one. There you go. As you've seen, there is 2 hose, I guess, spots right here where normally you would put a your coolant lines would actually run in and out. I don't know the order, but nonetheless it runs coolant through here through your idle air control valve to make sure if you're that your throttle body doesn't stick. It warms it up quicker. If you live in the northern regions or somewhere where it's often very, very cold. As you may or may not have guessed from the channel name, we live in the south. So there is no need for this in the south. There really just is not. All it does is just heats up your throttle body by running coolant through it, which I don't want. So of course I did a throttle body coolant bypass, which was very simple. The one that went in here and then the one that went out, I took it out, unplugged it, and plugged it back in, looped it around. And I'll show that. Maybe I won't.
Alright, so now what we're going to do is remove all these bolts or nuts from the
Intake manifold.
intake manifold.
And you only got to remove the first part in order to get access to the knock sensor. How do you like our new lights, YouTube? We went to the local hardware store and got some new lights. So it's very bright in here. just for you guys.
And
Alright, so if your car is completely stock, then you will have a vacuum hose on the back side down here on yours, but you won't have enough room to pull it out this far. But you'll have a small vacuum hose, I believe, right there, one of these two spots. But I have obviously different stuff, so we'll have to unbolt these and unzip tie that one. Alright, with the intake manifold removed and out of the way, it allows us access to the knock sensor, this little thing here. It's pretty simple to get to once you've actually removed everything out of the way. Of course, you want to take off the plug first. It's only got one little wire on it, so be careful not to break it. You don't want to do that. Oh, and then we'll just grab an open-end wrench and get that off. Alright, as it turns out, it actually ends up being easier to get it out with a socket if you have one big enough. This one is a 27 millimeter. Well, it's pretty old and dusty and gross. I'm hoping that this sensor was faulty and will help solve my knock problem, or what I thought was a knock problem. And here's the pretty new sensor from the local auto store. That one is just going in basically the same way the other one came out. Nothing special about it, other than maybe me not dropping it. Make sure you plug it back up, because you'd feel pretty stupid if you did all this and then forgot to plug it back up.
alright, so basically now that we have that back in, we're going to see about putting everything back together.
Alright, next part we'll be putting the throttle body back on with the new idle air control valve on it. And actually, before we do that, it would probably be a smart idea to put that throttle cable. Alright, next is the throttle cable bracket. Don't forget to plug in all your sensors and your control valves. With everything plugged up, cross your fingers and pray that your car starts back up. Especially after watching one of our videos.
Right. That damn William. Oh God.